Welcome, everybody. I am so delighted today to have a group of our IVC Care Receivers to join us to tell you a little bit about IVC and their experiences. And several of these folks, I'm impressed with all of them because they have figured out a way to use this technology. It's not easy for those of us in our age group, but I'm very impressed with everybody here. And I see their faces often on some of the other Zoom meetings that I go to. So I'm delighted to have you all here today. So we're going to start today first with Sheila Kerwin. And Sheila has been a longtime participant with IVC and a wonderful spirit for us. So we'll like to hear what she has to say about IVC. Your turn, Sheila.
Okay, Lynn, thank you, my friend. This is easy to do. As I have been saying, it's extremely easy to do, to sing the praises of IVC. My goodness. I made a list so that if I'm looking down, that's the reason why I'm being sure that I get everything on my list. My first encounter with IVC, I believe, was with the flowers, the beautiful, beautiful flowers that are put together by volunteers and brought around to several people in the community, myself being one of them. I remember the first time that happened, when I had that, I was in tears because I was overjoyed. It was a day that I needed to have them, or they needed to become a gift, and I got this beautiful gift of these beautiful flowers, and I was so grateful for them. So it was absolutely lovely. And they continue to come. And so I'm very glad about that. Another thing is I've taken part in over there at the office was to help fold the newsletter under the direction of Mary Brown, who keeps telling me, who is very good about letting us know exactly which way to go. And I'm grateful for that. I truly am. But I think, I don't know which is more fun. It's fun to fold newspapers or the newsletter and know it's going out and so on and so forth, put it in the envelope. But the most fun is being there with folks. And then of course, Lynn or Rita bring us yummies to eat on occasion too, which is very nice. So, well, it's a good thing, by the way, in case anybody would like to help out with that. It's fun. The other thing is the barn has been giving out food for the last maybe 4 or 5 weeks, 5 weeks now, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And I've been picking it up at our door here and delivering it to people, wonderful people such as Gabriel down here and myself. Because I'm delivering, I get some food too, which I really appreciate. The food is absolutely magnificent and very good. And I'm grateful for that too. I keep saying I'm grateful. I'm grateful for IVC. I really am. It's one of the more extraordinary organizations I've ever been a part of. Off the side of that, I've got to mention Lynn Murphy here because she's my go-to person as far as the opera, movies, the Museum of Art, the films over there, and especially the Jim Cotter jazz series.
Right.
And I, if it wasn't for Lynn, I wouldn't be over there. I wouldn't have any idea about doing it. Number one. Number two, she just takes me, and it's lovely. I am so grateful for that. Again, the word grateful. So I will let you know that I'm sure there are other things, and if people mention something, I will interact too. But those are the ones that I think of right off the top of my head. And just again, thank you to IVC. We are fortunate in this community to have you. So fortunate.
Thank you, Sheila. That was wonderfully said and appreciated. It is, I think we're all realize how fortunate we are to have IVC in this community and how fortunate we are to have such an amazing community in general. So I am delighted now to introduce Richard Herzog. Richard has been a longtime participant also, at least from the very beginning when I started about 5 years ago, I think. Is that about right, Richard?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you've done a lot. Tell us a little bit about your experience with IVC.
Well, initially, I got involved as I was the caregiver of my ex-wife, who is still happily using IVC. And Sheila used the word that I was going to use, and I'm sure we'll continue to hear it from everybody, extraordinary. This is really an extraordinary organization. Whether we talk about it from the point of the quality of the leaders and the staff and the volunteers and the other members, it's a great way to meet wonderful people on Bainbridge Island. And I've formed a lot of meaningful relationships as a result of it. When I first got involved as my wife's caregiver, I was coordinating the fact that IVC would drive her all around to whatever medical appointments she had, regardless of where they were. IVC always came through and gave us door-to-door service. And that was a wonderful way of making life easier in a terrible, difficult period of illness. On the other hand, through Lynn's efforts as life enrichment, the whole experience of IVC expanded, and IVC became the source of so many good, wonderful times. Sheila already mentioned the opera, which is fantastic, in that we get to go to the movie theater and see the Metropolitan Opera, which is a wonderful experience. Lynn also arranges a variety of outings through the Creaky Knees group, where we hike in various areas of Kitsap County. And that is a wonderful way to interact with people, and it encourages us to have physical exercise. And the way that IVC enables us to participate in the Bainbridge Museum of Art and Bainbridge Performing Art Center is wonderful also. So being part of IVC really, really results in expanding my life and making my retirement a totally different experience than it would be without IVC. So I thank you for all of these wonderful things that you are doing for me and for everybody else.
Well, thank you, Richard. And Richard is one of my absolutely count on going to the movies guy. We have a movie group, and I can always count on Richard being one of those folks we've seen. And most of our movies, we go to the pavilion sometimes, but most of what you've participated in, I think, has been the movie series, several of them at BEMA. So those have been excellent, and I know you've enjoyed those.
I have, and going to the movie theater, to the regular movies is a treat also.
Yep. Good.
Yep.
Well, we're delighted to have you, and I hope we get back to those times, Richard. My other alternative to that is that we can have a movie night online. I'm doing that with some friends in Seattle on Friday nights, and it's fun. And I thought, I think I can share that with you guys too. So we'll talk about that later.
That's
I think
great.
I'm going to go next to Lynn. You're up there with next to Charles, but I'm going to have you give us your experiences with IVC, and you've been with us for quite a while as well. So can you tell us a little bit about what your experience has been?
I certainly underline again Richard's comment about the word, well, I can't remember whether it was extraordinary. I think that's what it was. But also I have to put in the word gratitude. I've lived on this island coming from the East Coast for 17 years, and daily it's one of those astonishing moments. In the last 5 years, I was dealing with a husband who was very ill and declining in terms of dementia and depression. And I also made a decision about 2 years ago to give up driving. This would never have happened successfully without the wonderful telephone within reach IVC, who provided outstanding service, picking me up, picking my husband up from Madrona House and delivering us and just right there to return us to our destinations. I think the quality of volunteer was extraordinary. How they adapted, all of them different from week to week, but how it was, we were comfortable from the minute we got in the car. Certainly my husband was, and how much I appreciated that. I think at the top of the list, living on this island in 16 years, there are many things to rave about, but certainly from my opinion, or from my point of view, I put IVC right up there at the top, right up there at the top. They're there for us. They're there for everyone in this community with a smile, promptness, wonderful attitude. The programs they offer augment who they are and what they are. I went through one in particular, which was a grief session. Just learning how to deal with grief. I had to go through that sadly last year, and I found that love and support to be unbelievably helpful. Well, I just can't even tell you how grateful I am for those sessions that we all had meeting out at the Bodell. I could go on and on. The flowers, Sheila, couldn't agree with you more. And fabulous. And just I myself have also found a tear or two falling when I realized that somebody in this community whom I hardly know is there with love and support. Gratitude, extraordinary. I like the fact you're doing so well and align yourselves with some programs at the Senior Center, particularly for us at-risk people. Well, I could go on and on. All I can say is that for Lynn Sinclair, gratitude just hits the top when it comes to thinking about IVC.
Thank you, Lynn. And I know you were a participant in the grief program at Blodell that Robin does. And yeah, I hear nothing but great things about that. So we're pleased to have that note about that as well. All right, I'm going to now introduce Mary Kay Brown, who has just not only been a delightful part of IVC for a long time now, but as another great friend of mine. All of you have become dear and good friends to me, and I can't tell you how much I have appreciated that. It's made my life enriched as well. So Mary, tell us a little bit about your IVC experience.
Well, my first experience with IVC was Robin coming to interview me at my house, and I just felt her to be such a sympathetic ear. And I refer to the three women running IVC as the three musketeers because they have such distinct personalities, but they're so wonderful. And I'm very grateful. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I help fold the newsletter every month because I want to give back, because I've received so much information and fellowship from IVC. And I particularly like the creaky knee hikes. And the thing is that no matter what your physical capabilities are, you can go on these outings, and you can either walk or you can go as far as you want, but you can also sit on a bench and just enjoy nature. And I'm sure that many folks enjoy that aspect of the outings. I particularly like the wetlands walk in the spring and fall in Silverdale. I also enjoy the art projects. This is a bird that I made at the art project, where one of the art projects that I've been to, and I added it to a line of chickens that are made in India, and I have it hanging on the lamp right beside me, so I can see it every day. And there's another one hanging on the fan in my apartment. And so I just so enjoy the art project, and as everyone else says, it's a sense of gratitude that I feel for IVC. And that's one of the reasons that I come every month to the office to help with the newsletter, and I meet people like Marilyn, and we just have so much fun together. And also, I think I've been 3 times to the farmers market when IVC has had a booth there. And the last time I was there, last fall, I was with this delightful young man named Brian, and he was so delightful. And he's a board member, and I just was inspired by his youth and enthusiasm for IVC. So there's not enough words in the vocabulary, in my vocabulary anyway, to say how grateful I am to IVC.
And Mary, we could not be more grateful to you. You helped me so much, whether it's at the office, alerting us to, Mary is an incredible environmentalist, and she keeps us all on track as far as different kinds of things that are going on the island with regards to environmental and global warming. And so I'm able to share that with some of our other care receivers as well. And Mary has been a great participant at our farmers market. In fact, she was so enthusiastic. She was out handing out her flyers at the market, and we got a call saying, well, we didn't know, but you weren't supposed to be handing out flyers past the limits of your booth. But great enthusiasm, and we are so glad to have you join us for our activities. One of my great walkers too, Mary. I think you've done quite a bit of walking.
Creaky knees, and that's what I like about creaky knees. No matter what your capabilities are, you can go on these creaky knee excursions, and you can either sit, for example, at the pond at Bainbridge Battle Point Park, or you can walk as far as you want. When we go out to Point Ward, so. There's something for everybody in these outdoor excursions, no matter what your capabilities are. And that's another thing that I like about IVC.
Right. Thank you so much. We love having you be one of our partners. Okay, we have with us today also Marilyn Hirsch, and Marilyn is another wonderful part of our IVC group. And I met Marilyn as part of the over at the Senior Center, where we have a lot of collaborative efforts that we do with the Senior Center, and a lot of fun. And unfortunately, Marilyn doesn't have a video today, but I'm going to let her speak because she has a lot of nice things to say about how IVC has impacted her. So Marilyn, welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for the welcome. The shuttle bus once a month, I'm so grateful for and appreciative of. I relocated here from the East Coast and sold my old car. So no car, and so I really count on and love that shuttle bus trip once a month. And I could just go on and on. The people are just so kind and generous at IVC, just kind and sweet. That's the word, very sweet. So, I found out along the way that if I needed a ride to a doctor appointment far away, I could find one. And so it's just been a savior. I've gotten, some rides with wonderful people. Cammie and Shay, her dog. So Cammie and Cammie and Shay, her velvety, sweet dog, would visit me every few weeks. I found out you didn't have to be on hospice to have an animal visit. so they would visit me, and it was just so sweet and wonderful. And so I took Cammie, my volunteer favorite, to docs as part of IVC February 13th, Galentine's Day. We had a wonderful time, and we text each other and speak on the phone as, you know, during the pandemic. But Elizabeth Ristine is my phone buddy, has been calling me during the pandemic, and is just the sweetest person. We found out all about each other, and she was a nurse for almost 30 years, and she has a sweet doggie. And we say when we're allowed to, we'd go for a walk together with her doggie. I even went on the Christmas light bus tour.
We are really delighted that we have such a nice connection with the senior center. I think that partnership has grown substantially during the pandemic. And then we also share a community outreach coordinator for that, Katie Auger.
Katie is so wonderful and just so easy to speak with, and so caring and kind. And I've just had the best conversations and sharing and laughter. And I know about her family, and she's just the sweetest ever. I mean, you can speak with her if you're upset or not upset or whatever. She's just, and so helpful, and an endless. She'll tell you all the information you need to know. And yeah, she's amazing. She's utterly amazing.
We actually share her each week. Part of the week she's at the senior center, and her position is called Community Outreach Navigator. And part of the week she's here with us at IVC. So it's nice for us because both organizations are kept in tune pretty much with what is going on, thanks to our Katie. We just love her. She's been a wonderful attribute to our organizations, both of them.
Yes, she's a blessing, and IVC is a blessing. I couldn't believe it when I heard all about IVC, that, you know, there were so many caring people.
It's an amazing organization and an amazing community in which we live.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, my computer died last December, and so when I got a new computer, IVC technical person named Jack Johnson came and helped me set it up, and he's helped me with various problems. So I would not be on the computer without the help of Jack.
I've found out all about events and everything through IVC.
Thank you, and thank you both, Mary. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you. We appreciate your participation in this. I'm now going to turn to not a new participant, but newer than some on this thing. And I remember my delight in first meeting Gabrielle. The first thing we went to was one of the evenings at BEMA, and he too has become a lovely friend. And we're glad to have you as part of our IVC family. So Gabrielle, go ahead and tell us about your experience with us.
Okay, well, I'm like Sheila and the other Lynn with the flowers, because when I moved in just 2 years ago, it was shortly afterwards that here was this beautiful bouquet of garden growing flowers. And I thought, well, there must be a mistake here. I don't know anyone here. And I looked at the card, and it had my name on it. So I knew it was for me. And like the two ladies, I really got a little teary about it, that here someone would send me some flowers and they didn't even know me, or that sort of thing. And I have used the volunteers so often, you can't imagine, because I have to go to Seattle for many medical needs. And Lynn took me over one day, so I'd be there on time. And one of my best friends here on the island is a friend who I met when he was a driver. And we just had so many things in common. And we talked about books and about videos and so forth. And his wife is a wonderful cook. The virus has affected my life quite a bit because I can't go out to the movies, can't go visit friends or have friends in. And I'm just doing the best I can with it. Fortunately, I have lots of projects. I publish poetry books, so I stay very busy here.
And you've been that busy as long as I've known you here. You're always busy.
Yeah. And also, I love the meals that come from the barn. I'm just unhappy that they don't come every week. Yes. They give you enough food that I can get 7 meals out of that one delivery.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're better than others. But the thing I like is they don't overspice them.
One of the nice things about the barn bites for us is that we have one volunteer basically per building, residents on the island. That volunteer goes to the barn, picks up whatever it is, 4 or 5 or 6 meals for their building. And when we bring it to Winslow Arms, we have Sheila is our indoor delivery person. So she's great. She gets the meals downstairs, and that way our volunteer does not go into the building. So thanks to Sheila for that too, but I'm glad you're enjoying them. That's been a fabulous program that we're happy to participate in. And we also do the helpline, delivery of helpline boxes too, which has been very helpful for a lot of people. So
yeah, and I'll be glad, as like Mary and Sheila, I'll be glad when the folding comes back, because I always enjoyed those little get-togethers. And
I'll tell you all that's so funny that you've all mentioned the newsletter, because until Gabrielle came along to help us with the newsletter, I called them our calendar girls. And then when Gabrielle came along, I had to call it our calendar girls plus a guy. But we do have fun. It's a nice monthly activity that we get together for. So thank you for that help, Gabrielle. Okay, I'm now going to introduce Charles Wallace to you, and I have to tell you a little bit about Charles because he's been a part of IVC since I started about 5 years or so ago, Charles, I think. And he has been he's been a tremendous volunteer for us. I can't even begin to tell you how many trips Charles has made and how many people he's hauled to actually every event that's been on Bainbridge Island. And he's also become a care receiver at times. And he has also been just a valuable part of my life enrichment program. He's helped me find activities, and we've kind of worked together as a team to get a lot of people going to a lot of different activities. So I just want to say thank you so much to Charles. And he's also, of course, Santa Claus at the holidays. You've probably all seen him around the island. He's the best Santa you'll ever see. Charles, tell us a little bit about your thoughts of IVC.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I actually found IVC by mistake. I went to a meeting at the IVC office. I had no idea what IVC was all about, for another nonprofit. And Robin was there, and we were asked to share why we were there. And I said, well, I felt like I had a good life, and I was wanting to spend my retirement years giving back. One of the first people she introduced me to on my first trip was a lady named Dee. She said, I'd really like to go to the senior center for lunch. Could you do that? And so for about the next year and a half, I did that 5 days a week. So I was kind of a bright spot in her life. But as Lynn said, I mean, when she came in and started talking about enrichment, I had on my own been exploring the enrichment activities on the island. and put out some flyers at the Bainbridge Senior Living facilities. And up at the White House, there were 3 ladies that said they wanted to go. And so we started going. And the first year, we went to all the performances at the BPA. And then we went to the Senior Center for various lectures and performances. And then in the summer was the busiest time because we went to a free lecture 3 nights a week in July and August. But I really appreciate the team at the headquarters. I've been involved in other nonprofits, but I've never been around a group of people that were as professional and dedicated as they are. And it's just amazed me in the last 4 years how we've been able to expand the activities that IVC comes up with. All the ones that Richard mentioned, the museum. I mean, Lynn's put together these tours at the museum so we could go and have a curator take us around the museum and explain the art to us. And then we got a chance to come and have coffee and ask questions, which my 3 ladies and I really, really enjoyed. We've been to the jazz festival. We've been to the film series there. But it was interesting because a couple of years ago, one day Robin said to me, we have this one person who was a caregiver is now a care receiver. And I laughed and I said, oh, that's interesting. Well, January that year, I had to have a cast put on my foot. And so there was no way that I was going to be able to drive. And I had to go to Bremerton once a week. And IVC gave me a driver. And with the cast, I couldn't walk around. And so IVC was able to get me a knee scooter to help me around with that. And I still use the knee scooter because I've gotten so attached to it. I do all kinds of crazy things with it. When I come downstairs on trash day, you think I was a homeless person because I have 2 or 3 sacks of trash. But I tell you, the first time I came back to my apartment and found the bouquet of flowers, I didn't even know what to say. I was speechless. It touched me so deeply in my heart. They would do that. And I talked to Robin about it. And they've been doing this for several years. And I said, well, how many of these do you do? And she said, well, the first year we did 70. And he said, last year we did 700. One of the things that hit me the strongest was when I first started volunteering, before I knew anything about IVC, I drove the Bainbridge Senior Living bus. And the first time I drove it, I drove them up to the grocery store, and we were over at the Madison House, and we weren't even out of the parking lot. And these 2 ladies said, oh, look at all the flowers. Look at the birds. Look at we weren't out of the parking lot. And I thought, wow, what a gift. And so I know that every time that I pick these ladies up to go wherever we're going to go, they really, really appreciate it, because living in just, in their room. And I know now, one of the things that I've heard through the grapevine is that IVC has a group of volunteers that are calling other care receivers that are stuck inside. Yep. And I can't tell you how important that is and how much these people that are receiving these calls appreciated those calls. And so this is just one example of the creativity that you guys have come up with during this virus, and it's very meaningful. I mean, it's incredibly meaningful because, I mean, I talk to my Charlie Angels. I try and talk to them at least once a week, and I know every time I talk to them, we talk about how much we miss each other and can't do the things we can do and stuff like that. And so I know these phone calls are super important to the people receiving them.
Good idea.
And I just want you guys to keep doing that and keep up the great work, because I think I've worked for a number of international nonprofits and everything. Never worked with a group of people as dedicated, as professional, and having the biggest heart as you do. And I must put in a great word for your board of directors, because I love the feast they put on Volunteer Day. So thank you so much. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you for those lovely words, and all of you. It's just been a treat to see you all and to be a part of this. I do have a question. Charles mentioned, and we call them the phone buddies. So are any of you a part of that? Do you have a
I
phone?
am, Lynn. I am. I am not making the calls. I am a receiving.
Okay.
Again, I am using the word extraordinary. I have had a person calling me. She is a superb IVC volunteer. As a matter of fact, I honestly think through our calls and conversations, which are at least once a week, I have a new friend. And we both agree, this has been an extraordinary experience. We've come to know each other. It's something I look forward to. I am very grateful. I think the word community comes to mind so much, and without community, which is the coming together of people, reaching out and giving, oh man, it reaps rewards that are just inexplicable. I guess I am so grateful for it, and I have enjoyed it tremendously, and really my hat's off to IVC for putting this together at this particular time in history.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we've had incredible feedback. We will continue to do some kind of outreach like that once we get to post-pandemic. But thank you all. Thank you so much.